Coming up on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show.
Do you think my hair looks cheap?
It looks a little pornish.
I was so mortified.
I could have gone so much lower.
Really?
Brittany told me earlier she thinks you called her a slut because you were one.
Wait, what?
I knew she didn't like you because she thought you lied about being on Broadway.
I think you should be proud of what you've done and not exaggerate it. So if Brittany was in a high school production, then she should just keep it to that.
I'm gonna put it on the table and cover it again.
Let's marry it right away. I mean, at one point I was like, should I get up and help her? You know?
Security, please escort her and her husband out.
I don't know why she didn't want to leave. Why would you want to be somewhere where you're not wanted? Well, I guess she does like that because she showed up in Palm Springs.
The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show starts now. Sweet God, the bat mitzvah was a lot.
It was a lot.
Do you think my hair looks cheap?
It looks a little pornish. That's a high body count dress. Those are high body count heels.
You know what, Angie? Screw you.
She's standing there, hair just ratted out like she's like just got off a set of a porn movie.
This is getting X-rated.
It is.
I was so mortified. I mean, I had like big, huge prom hair, you know, like
from the 80s.
And I knew that, and but I already felt self-conscious about it. I was like,
I mean, I'm in the beauty industry. I'm gonna analyze the hair. And then the dress was low and the dress was short. And it was like still wrinkled, like she just pulled it out of a little, and it needed to be steamed. And, you know, the spiked heels.
I didn't even look at
it. It just
that
had
good.
like a little like sort of slutty, like pour some sugar on me, like she was in a rock video in the 80s and crawling up a car.
Oh my.
I mean, it just had those
What in the
vibes.
world?
It just said like little midlife crisis-y.
She's past midlife, though.
But your hair looks beautiful today. I did not love it that night. And I'm like, okay, we can fix her hair. Don't let her hurt your But you know what? You do need testosterone material. No. But I kept saying, you started it, you started it. You said she's doing 10 guys.
You're doing 3 guys.
This is a no-winners scenario for me. There is a moment before the bat mitzvah begins where Brittany tells me she is going to say something pretty offensive about Angie's sexual habits.
If she's accusing me of that, then that's probably because that's what she's doing with Sean. Child.
Look, I was never slutty. I've been with Sean for 30 years. I was never even a slut when I was single. It's offensive to say that to a good Greek girl.
That's offensive to say.
And it's
anyway.
an offense. Yeah, it's very
She
offensive.
doesn't even know you from Adam.
Meanwhile, she's on Tinder.
boom, 10,000 hits on Bumble. Boom, 15,000 on Tinder.
She's admitting that she puts men before her daughters.
I've totally sacrificed my kids for a man.
But I'm slutty.
Brittany should not start a fire she can't control, but Angie was dead wrong to call her look slutty.
You know, if someone takes a shot at me, I'll fire back. And, like, I say funny things.
You look like a trampoline with eyes.
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh. But, like, I don't really say hurtful things about people's marriages or their businesses.
So do you feel like you were wrong?
Well, it's never right to tell someone they look like they have porn hair. And I know that, but she was dead serious that she thought I was probably slutty. She started it, I finished it, and
Good.
it was the wrong venue to start it. But I could have gone so much lower.
Really?
But I am in the hair industry.
How much lower would you, how low can you go?
It's just irresponsible to throw out any kind of insults, to just hurl insults at me and not expect me to retaliate and defend myself. I'm going to stick up for myself. And then if you can't handle it and you say something that embarrasses you to the point of getting thrown out, that's on you. So no, I don't need to apologize to anybody for defending myself at the bat mitzvah.
My girl Ange is the meanest, nicest person I've ever met. When Ange opens
She
up
goes
her
there.
mouth, she goes there and she goes all the way. And I call her, she's sniper. And when she gets emotional and she feels like she has to defend herself, her words are brutal. So I think it's 50-50. I think Brittany walked right into the situation. And, you know, Angie's not one to back down.
She came in with a Nerf gun and Angie was not playing. I knew from the jump I was not here for Brittany.
I'd like to learn something about Brittany that didn't feel unhinged.
Wait, excuse me?
Are you in love with him or are you in love with Osmond?
I think you should worry about your own marriage, Bronwyn.
Brittany told me earlier she thinks you called her a slut because you were one.
Wait, what?
Bronwyn had it out for me.
I just think she didn't like you probably because of other people's opinions of you.
I mean, at the ropes chorus, I was totally cold shouldering her. I wouldn't even look at her because of something that had happened before we even started hanging out.
Actually, in my first lunch with her, I knew she didn't like you because she thought you lied about being on Broadway.
Right.
Okay, let's get right into it. So I am new in the Broadway world. I just produced my first show, and I have 2 more coming out next season. So I'm not an expert, but I can definitely tell you, In my very short-lived Broadway experience, I have not come across Britney's name in a Broadway capacity. I know she tells people that.
Oh, she's claimed Broadway?
Very much so. And I don't believe the word accoladed is a real word either. I know she uses that in her bio. That is a made-up word. I would love to know what those accolades are.
You know, and I've supported local theater here my entire life, and I've never seen her perform, but I don't go to anything in Provo, so.
Yeah, I don't watch Mormon movies, I guess. I did not know who she was.
Girl, you can Google it. In fact, one of Andy Cohen's best friends, he and I were in the same Broadway show together. Second National Broadway tour of Miss Saigon.
I can't sing, and everyone's seen me dance. It's awful, so I'm not saying I'm a better performer than Britney, but I think you should be proud of what you've done and not exaggerate it. So if Britney was in a touring production or a high school production or sings in her shower, then she should just keep it to that. She doesn't need to say she was on Broadway if she wasn't.
Were Donnie and Marie on Broadway ever?
Oh,
because
that
maybe
I
she's
don't
like
know.
taking on.
Maybe she's marrying into it.
Yes.
Is that, can you marry into a Broadway career?
I don't think so, but you know.
I know you can buy into one. That's how I got myself into producing, is you pay for the production.
You know, she told me off camera that she knows that I did Broadway.
But that's like a lie, because she's vehement with me that you never did. Her friend told her you like danced in some local stuff and sang in some local stuff.
Okay, I'm just gonna be very clear. The shade for me is the exaggerating. I think she's probably a great performer. She's probably a great singer. I mean, she's definitely in that world. I just don't think she's in that world to the level she would like to tell everyone she is. But Britney, call me. I actually do produce Broadway shows, and maybe you could try out for me. Come to my house.
Gonna say,
come
maybe,
audition for me. It's not going to go well for her. I should not offer her that. She'd actually be better doing it with cold for someone else than me.
Bronwyn lies. I mean, she's got busted in her lies, and I think that that's really embarrassing. She's used to not being held accountable.
Having a camera on her where you can say certain things.
And you can rewind. I just don't know why she targets me with these lies.
And I think it was like there's a lot of misconceptions around what happened at my Bezos party on the couch with you, Mary, and Bronwyn. And like what was said, because I was told you said Mary was poor, and that never happened.
Right.
You said you grew up poor.
Right. I was, and you know, like, yes, I feel like I put my foot in my mouth a little bit.
What was just a misintent, and I think you'll never do that again.
No, I won't. But, you know, I was absolutely on Broadway.
Just learn who you can be vulnerable with and who you can't.
Yes, and I learned that the very hard way. But hey, I'm still here, bitch, so there you go.